Poor diet choices are one of the biggest reasons behind the rise of many diseases in the modern world. When people eat too much junk food, processed snacks, sugary drinks, and fried meals, they fill their bodies with unhealthy fats, sugar, and chemicals that weaken overall health. A diet that is high in processed food lacks essential nutrients like vitamins, minerals, and fiber, which the body needs to stay strong and fight infections. This imbalance puts stress on the body, and over time, it leads to obesity, heart disease, diabetes, and digestive problems. The human body functions best when it receives natural whole foods. But when poor diet choices become a habit, the immune system weakens and the risk of chronic illness rises. One of the most dangerous aspects of poor diet choices is the high consumption of sugar from sodas, candies, desserts, and even packaged foods that people often do not realize contain large amounts of hidden sugar. Excess sugar leads to weight gain, insulin resistance, and eventually type 2 diabetes. It also causes inflammation in the body, which is linked to heart disease and even some cancers. High sugar intake damages teeth as well and promotes cavities and gum disease. Beyond physical problems, sugar also affects mood and energy levels, causing sudden highs and crashes that lead to fatigue and irritability. Another poor diet choice is eating too many foods high in unhealthy fats like trans fats and saturated fats found in fried fast food chips and packaged snacks. These fats raise bad cholesterol levels in the blood, which can block arteries and cause heart attacks or strokes. A constant intake of such foods damages the circulatory system and puts enormous pressure on the heart and blood vessels. On the other hand, ignoring healthy fats from foods like nuts, seeds, avocados, and fish deprives the body of essential nutrients that support brain health and hormone balance. Eating too much salt is another common mistake that leads to serious diseases. Packaged and processed foods are often loaded with sodium, which increases blood pressure and damages the kidneys. High-salt diets are strongly linked with strokes, heart failure, and kidney disease. Many people do not even realize how much salt they consume daily because it is hidden in sauces, breads, canned foods, and snacks. This silent damage builds up slowly over years until it turns into a life-threatening condition. Skipping fresh fruits and vegetables is also a poor diet habit that affects health deeply. These foods are full of fiber, antioxidants, and vitamins that cleanse the body, strengthen the immune system, and reduce the risk of cancer. Without enough of them, digestion slows down and the body struggles to fight infections. A diet low in fiber also causes constipation, bloating, and other stomach issues, which eventually lead to more serious digestive disorders. Poor diet choices affect mental health as well. When the body does not receive the right nutrition, the brain cannot function properly, leading to poor focus, low energy, depression, and anxiety. A balanced diet supports stable mood and sharp memory. But a diet full of junk food weakens mental performance. This is why health experts always encourage people to replace processed food with natural options like whole grains, fresh fruits, vegetables, lean proteins, and clean water. Healthy eating habits do not just protect against disease, they also increase energy, improve sleep, and make the body stronger. When poor diet choices continue for years, the effects combine and create a cycle of illness. Weight gain leads to joint problems. Lack of nutrition weakens the immune system. High sugar damages the pancreas. High salt harms the kidneys, and unhealthy fats block the heart. All of these problems together shorten life expectancy and reduce quality of life. Making small changes like reducing sugar, limiting fried food, avoiding excess salt, and adding more natural food can completely transform health. Poor diet choices may seem harmless at first, but in the long run they are one of the main causes of suffering and disease. Lack of physical activity has quietly become one of the greatest threats to modern health. And while it may not always be visible in the beginning, the damage caused by sitting too much and moving too little accumulates slowly until it turns into disease. The human body was designed to move muscles, Bones, joints, and even the heart and lungs work best when they are active. Yet the modern lifestyle has created conditions where people sit for hours, at desks in front of computers, in cars, and on couches. This prolonged inactivity weakens the body, reduces energy levels, and increases the risk of nearly every chronic disease. When a person spends most of the day sitting, the muscles begin to weaken because they are not being used regularly. The legs and core become less stable, and balance suffers over time. Joints stiffen, flexibility decreases, and even simple tasks like climbing stairs or carrying groceries can feel exhausting. Lack of activity also slows metabolism, meaning the body burns fewer calories throughout the day. This leads to gradual weight gain, which in turn increases the risk of obesity, diabetes, and heart disease. The heart is one of the organs most affected by inactivity. Regular movement strengthens the heart. Muscles improves circulation and helps maintain healthy blood pressure. When people sit too much, the blood flow slows down. Arteries become stiffer, and cholesterol builds up more easily. This is why people with sedentary lifestyles are far more likely to develop hypertension, strokes, and heart attacks. The lungs are also affected because they do not get the regular exercise they need to stay efficient without activity. The capacity to take in oxygen decreases, which makes people feel tired more quickly and reduces stamina for daily activities. Another hidden danger of sitting too much is poor posture, when people spend hours bent over a desk or hunched in front of a screen. The spine suffers back pain, neck strain, and even chronic headaches. Become common problems. Muscles tighten in some areas and weaken in others, creating long-term structural imbalances that are difficult to reverse. Sitting for long periods also affects blood circulation, especially in the legs, which can lead to swelling varicose veins and, in severe cases, blood clots that can be life-threatening. The lack of movement has a direct link to mental health as well. Exercise releases endorphins, the natural chemicals that improve mood and reduce stress. When people do not move enough, they miss out on these benefits, leading to increased risks of anxiety, depression, and poor sleep. Physical activity also stimulates the brain, improving memory, focus, and creativity. Without it, mental sharpness declines and fatigue becomes more common. Inactivity contributes heavily to the development of type 2 diabetes. When muscles are not active, they do not use glucose effectively, so blood sugar levels remain high. This forces the body to release more insulin, and over time, the cells become resistant to it, leading to diabetes. Studies show that people who sit for long periods, even if they exercise occasionally, are still at higher risk compared to those who include regular movement throughout the day. This means that short bursts of activity spread across the day are more effective than one intense workout followed by hours of sitting. Children and young adults are not immune to this problem with the rise of video games, smartphones, and online entertainment. Many young people spend most of their free time seated. This early exposure to a sedentary lifestyle is already leading to obesity, posture problems, and even mental health challenges in the younger generation. The long-term consequences of this trend will be serious if not addressed. The good news is that the negative effects of inactivity can be prevented and even reversed by adopting simple habits. Regular movement does not have to mean extreme workouts. Even walking briskly for 30 minutes a day, cycling, stretching, or light strength training can provide enormous benefits. Breaking up long periods of sitting with short activity breaks improves circulation, keeps muscles engaged, and boosts energy. Taking the stairs instead of the elevator, walking to nearby places instead of driving, and standing while talking on the phone are small changes that make a big difference over time. For those who work at desks, it helps to set reminders to stand, stretch, or walk every hour. Adjustable standing desks or walking meetings are also great ways to reduce sitting time. Incorporating activities into daily routines makes it easier to stay consistent, such as doing household chores, gardening, dancing to music, or playing outdoor games with family and friends. These activities not only keep the body fit, but also add enjoyment and relaxation to life. The long-term benefits of regular physical activity are undeniable. People who stay active have stronger hearts, better lung function, healthier weight, and improved mood. They sleep more soundly, manage stress more effectively, and maintain sharper minds as they age. Physical activity also strengthens bones and reduces the risk of osteoporosis and fractures. Later in life, it improves balance and coordination, reducing the chances of dangerous falls, especially in older adults. Ultimately, the human body is built for movement. Every step, stretch, and workout is a message to the body that it is alive and functioning well when people deny themselves this natural need. By sitting too much, they invite disease and weakness into their lives, but when they embrace movement in simple daily ways, they build strength, resilience, and vitality. Lack of physical activity may be one of the most common modern habits, but it is also one of the easiest to change with awareness and commitment. Every person has the power to transform their health simply by moving more and sitting less, and in this small change lies the key to a longer, healthier, and more fulfilling life. Not getting enough sleep is one of the most common yet overlooked problems in modern life, and it quietly damages the body and mind in ways people often fail to notice. Sleep is not just a time of rest. It is a biological necessity that allows the body to repair itself, the brain to process information, and the immune system to recharge. When sleep is consistently cut short or disrupted, the consequences begin to pile up and can lead to serious long-term health problems. The brain is among the first to feel the effects of sleep deprivation. Concentration becomes harder, memory weakens, and decision-making suffers. People who do not sleep enough often find it difficult to focus at work or school. They make mistakes more easily, and they are slower to react. Lack of sleep also lowers creativity and problem-solving abilities. The brain needs time to organize information and experiences from the day, and without adequate rest, this process is incomplete, leading to confusion, forgetfulness, and poor judgment. Mood and emotional health are also deeply connected to sleep. People who do not get enough sleep often feel irritable, anxious, or depressed. The brain chemicals that regulate mood are disrupted by sleep deprivation, making it harder to manage stress and emotions over time. Chronic lack of sleep can contribute to serious mental health disorders, including anxiety disorders, depression, and even suicidal thoughts. Relationships can also suffer as tired people become less patient, less understanding, and more prone to conflict. The immune system becomes weaker without enough rest. When the body is deprived of sleep, it produces fewer infection-fighting cells and antibodies, which makes it harder to resist common illnesses like colds and flu. People who consistently sleep too little get sick more often and take longer to recover. When they do, this weakened immune response also increases vulnerability to more serious infections and diseases, showing just how vital sleep is for defense against illness. The heart and circulatory system are harmed by sleep deprivation as well. Research shows that people who do not sleep enough are at higher risk of high blood pressure, heart disease, heart attacks, and strokes. While sleeping, the body regulates stress hormones and allows the heart to rest and repair. When sleep is shortened, the balance of these systems is disrupted, placing extra strain on the cardiovascular system and raising the chances of life-threatening events. The metabolism and weight of a person are also affected by poor sleep. Lack of sleep changes the balance of hormones that control hunger and fullness, making people feel hungrier and crave high-calorie foods. As a result, people who sleep less are more likely to gain weight and develop obesity. This in turn raises the risk of diabetes, high cholesterol, and other metabolic disorders. The connection between sleep and weight shows that getting rest is just as important as diet and exercise. When it comes to staying healthy, smoking and the use of tobacco products remain among the most harmful habits known to human health, and yet millions of people around the world continue to use them every day, despite overwhelming evidence of their dangers. The addictive nature. of nicotine traps people in a cycle that is difficult to break, while the smoke and chemicals from tobacco quietly attack nearly every organ in the body. It is a habit that does not only shorten life, but also lowers the quality of life by causing disease, weakness, and dependency. The first and most obvious impact of smoking is on the lungs. Every breath of cigarette smoke carries thousands of chemicals, many of which are toxic, and dozens that are known to cause cancer when these particles enter the lungs. They damage the delicate tissue and make it harder to breathe. Over time, the constant irritation leads to chronic bronchitis, emphysema, and other respiratory illnesses. Lung cancer is one of the deadliest results of smoking, and it is strongly linked to the habit. Smokers are many times more likely to develop lung cancer compared to non-smokers, and the disease is often fatal. The harm does not stop with the lungs. The heart and blood vessels are also directly damaged by tobacco. Smoking raises blood pressure and causes blood vessels to narrow. This forces the heart to work harder and increases the risk of heart disease, stroke, and heart attacks. Nicotine itself increases heart rate and disrupts the normal flow of oxygen throughout the body, making the entire cardiovascular system less efficient over time. These changes lead to severe complications that can cut years off a person's life. Tobacco use also affects the immune system. It weakens the body's natural defenses and makes it harder to fight infections. Wounds heal slower, and smokers are more vulnerable to illnesses like pneumonia and influenza. The chemicals in smoke reduce the effectiveness of immune cells, which means the body cannot protect itself as well as it should from everyday threats. Even oral health suffers as smoking stains the teeth, damages the gums, and often leads to tooth loss. Smokers are far more likely to develop oral cancer, throat cancer, and other diseases of the mouth. Another area often overlooked is the effect of tobacco on mental health. While many people believe smoking helps them relax, the truth is that nicotine only provides temporary relief from withdrawal symptoms. Once the effect wears off, the craving returns, creating a cycle of stress and relief that tricks the brain. This cycle can worsen anxiety, depression, and irritability. Instead of solving stress, smoking actually deepens it and makes people more dependent on the very substance that is harming them. Pregnant women who smoke or are exposed to tobacco smoke put their babies at serious risk. Smoking during pregnancy is linked to premature birth, low birth weight, birth defects, and sudden infant death syndrome. Children who grow up around secondhand smoke suffer from more respiratory infections, asthma, and ear problems than children in smoke-free environments. This shows that tobacco does not only harm the user, but also the people around them. Chronic stress and anger are powerful forces that quietly destroy both the body and the mind. Many people live under constant pressure from work, family, financial problems, and social expectations. And when this stress is not managed, it begins to shape the way the body functions. Stress is a natural reaction designed to protect us in dangerous situations, but when it becomes constant and never-ending, it turns into a poison that slowly weakens every system in the body. Anger is closely tied to stress, and when it is frequent and uncontrolled, it adds even more damage, creating a cycle of tension and harm that affects not only the individual, but also the people around them. When stress becomes chronic, the brain is the first area to suffer. The constant release of stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline changes the way the brain works. Memory becomes weaker, focus is harder to maintain, and decision-making is clouded. Prolonged stress can shrink parts of the brain, such as the hippocampus, which plays a key role in learning and memory. This leads to forgetfulness, confusion, and difficulty solving problems. Anger makes this worse by adding emotional instability and impulsive behavior. People under constant stress and anger often lash out, say things they regret, and struggle to control their emotions. The heart and circulatory system are also heavily affected. Chronic stress raises blood pressure, increases heart rate, and makes blood vessels tighter. These changes put extra strain on the heart and increase the risk of heart disease, heart attacks, and strokes. Anger spikes blood pressure even more and creates sudden surges of stress hormones that can trigger serious cardiovascular events. In some cases, a burst of anger has been enough to cause a fatal heart attack, showing how dangerous unmanaged emotions can be for the heart. The immune system weakens under constant stress. The body produces fewer white blood cells and antibodies, making it harder to fight off infections. People who are stressed all the time get sick more often and heal slower after injuries or surgeries. Anger adds fuel to this problem because it keeps the body in a state of tension where healing and recovery cannot take place properly. This means that chronic stress and anger not only cause illness directly, but also lower the body's defenses against other threats. The digestive system also suffers stress hormones, increase acid in the stomach, leading to indigestion, heartburn, and ulcers. Chronic stress can disrupt bowel movements, causing diarrhea, constipation, and irritable bowel syndrome. Anger tightens the muscles of the gut and interferes with digestion, even more leading to pain, discomfort, and long-term stomach problems. Many people turn to unhealthy coping mechanisms such as overeating, drinking alcohol, or smoking when stressed or angry, which only deepens the harm. Sleep is another victim of stress and anger. People who carry stress through the day often lie awake at night, unable to relax and fall asleep. Even when they do sleep, it is shallow and disturbed, leaving them tired. The next day, anger can also replay in the mind, causing people to relive arguments or situations that make them upset. This constant cycle of poor sleep weakens the body, further damages mental health, and makes stress and anger even harder to control. Mental health is deeply tied to these issues. Constant stress and anger increase the risk of anxiety, depression, and burnout. People lose interest in activities they once enjoyed and feel trapped in a cycle of negativity. Relationships suffer because anger creates conflict and drives people away, while stress makes individuals less patient and less able to connect emotionally. Isolation often follows, which increases loneliness and deepens mental health problems. Chronic stress and anger also influence behavior. People under pressure may turn to unhealthy habits, such as junk food, excessive caffeine, alcohol, or drugs, as a way to cope. While these may provide temporary relief, they only make the problems worse in the long run. Weight gain, high blood sugar addiction, and other health problems follow, creating even more stress and anger. This cycle traps people and makes it harder to find balance and peace. The long-term consequences of unrelieved stress and unmanaged anger are severe. They include heart disease, diabetes, obesity, weakened immunity, infertility, memory problems, and even premature aging. The constant wear and tear on the body caused by stress hormones is sometimes called allostatic load, which is the heavy burden the body carries under constant pressure. This burden shortens lifespan and lowers quality of life, making every day harder than it should be. Breaking free from chronic stress and anger is possible, but it requires awareness and consistent effort. Simple habits like deep breathing, meditation, and physical exercise help calm the mind and lower stress hormones. Regular exercise in particular is powerful because it burns off excess energy, strengthens the heart, and releases endorphins, which naturally improve mood. Healthy eating also supports the body during stress by providing nutrients that stabilize energy and improve brain function. Managing anger requires learning self-control and new ways of expressing feelings instead of exploding with rage. People can practice pausing and taking a breath before reacting, talking through frustrations calmly, or channeling energy into constructive. Activities like writing or physical training, therapy, and counseling are also effective tools because they provide safe spaces to understand the roots of anger and develop healthier responses. Support from family and friends is equally important because it helps create balance and perspective during difficult times. Excessive alcohol consumption has become one of the most silent yet dangerous habits in modern society. Many people drink for relaxation, socializing, or celebration, but when the drinking becomes frequent and in large amounts, it slowly damages the Body and mind, while creating dependence that is hard to escape alcohol, may provide a temporary sense of relief or pleasure, but its long-term effects are devastating and often irreversible. The liver is one of the first organs to suffer from heavy drinking because it is responsible for breaking down and removing alcohol from the bloodstream. With repeated abuse, the liver becomes overworked and begins to scar a condition known as cirrhosis. Once scarring sets in, the liver cannot function properly, leading to toxin buildup, digestive problems, and eventually organ failure. Liver cancer is also more common among heavy drinkers, and this makes alcohol one of the most destructive substances for the human body. The heart and circulatory system are also harmed by too much alcohol. Drinking raises blood pressure and weakens the heart muscle, which can cause cardiomyopathy, irregular heart rhythms, and a higher risk of heart attack or stroke. Alcohol also disrupts the balance of good and bad cholesterol in the body, creating long-term cardiovascular problems that shorten life expectancy. While some people believe a small amount of alcohol may support heart health, excessive drinking has the opposite effect and pushes the heart toward disease. The brain is another major target of alcohol misuse. The chemicals in alcohol interfere with brain signals, leading to poor judgment, slower reaction times, and memory problems when drinking becomes heavy. These effects deepen, causing permanent damage to brain cells. Heavy alcohol use is strongly linked to depression, anxiety, and other mental health disorders. It also makes concentration and decision-making more difficult. And in extreme cases, long-term drinking can lead to alcohol-induced dementia, where the brain loses much of its ability to function normally. The digestive system suffers as well. Alcohol irritates the stomach lining and increases acid production, leading to ulcers, heartburn, and chronic indigestion. It also weakens the pancreas, which plays a role in digestion and blood sugar regulation. Damaged pancreases can lead to pancreatitis, a painful and potentially deadly condition, and also increase the risk of diabetes. Excessive drinking is closely tied to obesity, since alcoholic drinks are high in calories and often consumed along with unhealthy foods, which further increase the chances of developing metabolic disorders. The immune system becomes weaker with excessive drinking. Alcohol suppresses the body's ability to defend itself against infections. Heavy drinkers often get sick more frequently and heal slower after injuries or surgeries. Alcohol also increases vulnerability to diseases such as tuberculosis, pneumonia, and other infections that a healthy immune system could normally fight off. This means that beyond the direct damage alcohol causes, it also leaves the body defenseless against other threats. For pregnant women, alcohol is especially dangerous. Drinking during pregnancy can cause fetal alcohol syndrome, which leads to birth defects, developmental delays, and lifelong physical and mental problems for the child. Even moderate drinking can be harmful during pregnancy, and health experts advise complete avoidance. This shows that the harm from alcohol is not limited to the user, but can also affect the most vulnerable lives. Dependence on alcohol is one of its most destructive features because it traps people in a cycle that is extremely difficult to break over time. The body and mind adjust to alcohol and begin to crave it, creating addiction. Once addicted